Man and Machine is brought to you by Highflex Mobile Hose Service, Shannons Insurance for Motoring Enthusiasts, and the following sponsors.
Yeah, baby!
Unbelievable!
Now we're talking.
Well, here we are. We finally made it to Charlotte Motorsport Speedway and the Mustang 50th anniversary. There's thousands and thousands of Mustangs here, so let's get into it and take a look around. We're with Matt Anderson, and he's the Curator of Transportation for the Henry Ford Museum. Matt, it's fantastic to see you here, and I believe we're standing next to a very important Mustang right here. Can you tell us all about it?
This is where it all began. This is Mustang serial number 1, and it was sold to an airline pilot by accident in Canada, there in Newfoundland. Ford worked for 2 years to get it back from him. Shouldn't have been sold in the first place. They finally traded him the millionth Mustang to get this one back, and then Ford donated it to the Henry Ford Museum, where it's been ever since.
So why wasn't it supposed to be sold? Was it sold early, before the release date?
Yeah, two problems. It was sold on April 14th when the car shouldn't have been sold till April 17th, and it is a pre-production car, so it was just designed for show, so that every dealer would have one to show people what it looked like. It should not have been gone to the public.
And I believe this sky blue version here has a very similar story.
Yes, this one's special too. This is the first car sold in the U.S. It was bought by a woman named Gail Wise. She's a school teacher in Illinois. She walked into the dealership 2 days early on April 15th, and she just fell in love with this car and walked out with it. She still owns the car today, so she is the senior most original owner.
That is absolutely amazing. Now, with the release of the Ford Mustang, it was such a spectacular event, wasn't it? It was a huge deal.
It was incredible. I mean, Ford had broadcast time on all 3 of the major networks here. They had newspaper ads in 2,500 newspapers, magazine covers, and just massive loads of publicity. And the car delivered. They sold 20,000 of these in the first weekend.
I've heard stories about new owners sleeping in the car overnight at dealerships so no one else could take it.
Absolutely. I mean, there are stories of people blocking doors so others couldn't get into the dealership, sleeping until their checks cleared. There's even a story of a guy who was driving a truck, looked at a Mustang in the window, got distracted, crashed his truck into the dealership. So, Mustang mania.
Matt, what an amazing story, and thank you so much for your time on this special day.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Well, we love a bit of history here with Man and Machine, and look what I've found here. David Gardner and his magnificent ex-drag racer. Looks like a lot of history here, my friend.
Yes, sir. It's one of 50 made 428 Cobra Jet. They call them a 135 series, and they went to the Winter Nationals in 1968. 2 Cobra Jets in the finals even, Hubert Platt and Al Joniak. And this car here came from Russ Davis Ford, where Gas Ronda raced out of. It's an unrestored original paint, 321 actual mile car, and it had a blown motor and sat in the backyard for 42 years in California. But this is how we found it. We washed about 40 years of dirt off of it and built a new motor for it. The new motor made 686 horsepower. It sounds real good, so it probably got your attention when you heard it running.
I heard this thing, and she sounded like one angry machine, as you've noticed, so I jumped on it.
Very good, yep.
It's everyone's dream to find such a car. You must have been absolutely elated to find this thing.
Oh,
How did you find it?
I was chasing these things, just buying parts, thinking I was going to find a a rotten shell one day and put something together. And then a friend of mine has one of these cars, and he got an odd phone call one morning and said that a gentleman inherited the car from his cousin, and it sat in a backyard in California. Russ Davis got 6 of the factory lightweight cars, but of the 6, 2 were seam sealer delete cars that didn't have no sound deadener or seam sealer, and this is one of the cars. So it's got some real special suspension under it, big ladder bars that go way up to the trans, and it really works. We took it to the racetrack, and it run a 621 in the A in an old school trim. It's
Still got the goods.
Oh yeah, it still has the pedigree, you'd say.
Well, David, thanks for talking
Thank
to
you
us.
very
Magnificent
much.
machine.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
HighFlex Mobile Hose Service, your complete hose breakdown and on-site service partner. HighFlex Mobile Hose Service offers a complete range of quality guaranteed hydraulic and industrial hose and fittings products. We also specialise in preventative maintenance programs such as on-site hose condition auditing, testing and compliance. With our national fleet of qualified technicians, you can rely on HighFlex Mobile Hose Service's rapid response to all of your needs. Call 1300 HighFlex, 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Shannons Club, a hub for motoring enthusiasts. So join, create your own garage, share pics, videos and stories of your current and past machines, connect with other enthusiasts. Be sure to watch Shannons Club TV with a host of dedicated motoring channels, including past episodes of Man and Machine. So jump on board with Shannons Club. I'll see you on there. As part of the festivities here at the 50th, drivers get to put their Mustangs through their paces around Charlotte Motor Speedway. If you ask me, they look like they're having way too much fun. Talk about history, this Mustang convertible behind me here is the 1964 Indy 500 pace car. Back in the day, they needed a pace car that could support 140 mile per hour to set the pace on the oval. Of course, a factory 260 wasn't going to be up to the job. So Holman and Moody actually modified the car, upgrading it to a 450 horsepower 289 with an upgraded cooling system, a 9-inch rear and suspension modifications. This car here has actually been restored to factory concourse condition just as it was used on race day. 50 years after Ford manufactured one of the world's most popular cars, they've decided to produce this limited edition 50th anniversary 2015 Mustang here behind me. They'll be available in either Wimbledon White or Kona Blue. But what's exciting for me is they still support that magnificent little 5-litre V8 engine. Those things absolutely scream. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I think this car looks absolutely sensational. It's a perfect mix of Euro style along with American muscle and that sleek fastback roof. I know one thing, I've got to have one. Well, there's no shortage of Aussies here at the Mustang 50th. We're with Ed Callender. Now, Ed's made the trek up here from Florida. Ed, it's been a fantastic trip and you must be really happy to have this beautiful 69 Stang here.
We are, Glenn, yeah. We commissioned Matt from Shermat International to hunt around for it. He's done a great job. We're very happy with what we've managed to get. It's got a 429 big block, C6 auto, 9-inch diff. It's got all the goods. It's been fully restored. We're extremely wrapped with it. It's a great car, great car.
And it must be great to drive this car in its native home of the USA before you take it back to Australia.
Yeah, it's been something we wanted to do for a long time actually. This is our 5th trip over here and we love the place. You know, it's just such a great place, and to actually buy a car here and drive it on the roads, we've got that connection with it now, so we're really this is a keeper. We're gonna hang on to this one, so very happy indeed.
Well, I must say it's a spectacular car. I mean, I've had the pleasure of rolling into the 50th here with you for the trip down here from our accommodation point, and I've got to say, I think I've got the hots for a 69 now.
Well, we could sell it to you, Glenn, but
I don't think that's going to happen.
I can't see it happening either, but no, we're extremely happy with it. Yeah, it's great, and it's to be here at the 50th, it's awesome, absolutely awesome stuff.
Well, I have found one of the most spectacular 67 fastback Mustangs that I have ever seen. It's owned by Brian Bateka here. Brian, tell us all about this car.
This is the one of the stunt cars from Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. I bought it a couple of years ago and completely overhauled it, rebuilt it. Originally it had a 400 cubic inch V8 in it, and the interior was all set up as a stunt car. So it had a roll cage and 2-to-1 steering, and it had a handbrake for drift and so forth and so on. It's got a 347 Roush engine in it, aluminum block, aluminum heads. So I have the coilovers front and rear and the 4-link conversion in the back, and a Tremec TKO 600 transmission in it with a 8.8 inch torque sensing rear end. In addition to all that, I restored the interior back to like classic Shelby, something you would see, you know, in period of 67. So
you've got the best of both worlds. Effectively, it's done in a pro touring style theme.
Yes, exactly. It's been a 2-year-long restoration now at this point. So
absolutely amazing, Brian. Thanks so much for talking to us. Awesome car.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, check out the colour on this fastback. This car's owned by Dana Bowers. Dana, tell us all about this car.
That's a 1966 fastback resto mod, as you can see. Wasn't a numbers matching car when we found it, so we decided to build something to drive and have fun with. It's a fuel injected Ford Racing Boss Z63 motor, Tremec 5-speed, TMI interior in it, custom suspension. We've gone through the whole car.
And you've recently upgraded to fuel injection too, I believe.
Yeah, we just finished that last week. I'm from South Florida, and fuel injection was finished last Thursday. We jumped in the car and took it for a cruise over to Miami, about a 300-mile round trip to a show over there, and she ran great.
And tell us about the body and paint and the colour on this car.
The paint is a Matrix 3-stage true candy apple paint. Silver metallic base, tinted clear coat, and then cleared over top of. I build and finish custom furniture for a living, so it's very similar to what I have to do to finish a big piece of furniture. It's not your typical paint job.
So you painted the car?
Yes, me and a friend painted it.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
And how does it perform?
I got it out on the track today, expected to do maybe 45 or 50 miles an hour behind the pace car, and we got it up to about 105. So we had a good
Great.
day. Yeah, it was a great day.
Well, thanks so much for talking to us, Dana. Beautiful car.
I appreciate it. It's great meeting you guys.
Well, with Matt Clark from Sherman International. Matt, we've finally made it here. Mate, we've made the trek up here from Florida.
Finally got here, buddy.
Chaotix here. What a massive event.
Best road trip I've ever had, actually. All you guys and Ed Monique. It was just a brilliant trip. Brilliant.
And mate, Chaotix running like a dream, and I believe you're about to head out onto the oval very soon and give this thing a bit of a test.
Yeah, not often you get to go on one of these tracks, and I've never been on one, so I'm going to unleash the gear on this thing. They say you're not allowed to go over 70 mile an hour.
You sure it wasn't 170 mile per hour?
It's going to be.
G'day, my name's Rob Godfrey and I use and recommend Aeroflow fittings, whether it be for show or go.
Hi, I'm Poe. This is my 7-second Supra. I use and recommend Aeroflow.
Hi, I'm Chris Palazzo.
And I'm Corbin Palazzo.
Show or go, we use Aeroflow.
I'm Mario Colillo. Mild or wild, I use Aeroflow.
Aeroflow, manufacturers of professional hose, fittings and a whole range of performance products to suit your vehicle. To download the latest Aeroflow catalogue, go to aeroflowperformance.com. Proud supporters of the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars.
Damn, there's just no room under here.
There's no need to do this anymore when you can buy a tough lift hoist starting from only $24.50. With over 20 models in their range, including 2-post, 4-post, scissor lift, motorcycle and truck. They're great for storage too. All tough lift hoists have Australian standard certification and WorkSafe design registration. With an impressive warranty, in-house technical support and installation options Australia-wide, what are you waiting for? Check out toughlift.com.au.
I love my tough lift.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Kruger from On Track Accounts. Not only am I a racing fan, but I love my motorsport at every level. If you're a car enthusiast like me, come in and have a chat about your business accounts, BAS lodgements, or getting your personal tax ready. We're a small but dedicated team of enthusiasts, and we like nothing more than getting your accounts back on track. Find us at ontrackaccounts.com.au.
found a 65k code coupe here with some severe attitude, owned by Greg Meindl here. Greg, tell us all about this machine.
How are you? This is a 1965 K-Code built November 64. It's got a 289 hypo, close ratio top loader, bottleneck rear. It's got all the Shelby tricks to the suspension, and the heads are ported, the intake's ported. It's got a Shelby 715 CFM carburetor on it, and this was built to be basically an old school racer.
I like the black steel wheels. As soon as I saw this car with a side pipe, I thought, that's the one. And that's why I had to grab you. It sounded tough, it looks tough. And you're into vintage racing. You've got another car that you vintage race?
That's right. I have a 1965 K-Code coupe. It was built to be a racer. It was bought by a Ford dealer in upstate New York, Al Marooney Ford, and was never a street car ever in its life. And this one I built to basically have a race car on the street, be old school. Everything under the hood's been touched, but it's been touched for 60s style. Nothing in this car is modern. Everything is done the way you would have done it in 1965.
And the car's effectively brand new. This is the first time you've driven, is that correct?
This car, before I took 2 laps on the track, had 25 miles on it.
It's absolutely spectacular. The body, the paint, everything about this car is absolutely superb. And thanks so much for talking to us, Greg. It's an absolute gem.
Well, thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoy it.
We're with Lonnie Childress here, and he's going to tell us about this 70 Boss Mustang replica here. And don't be deceived. Whilst it looks old school, there's plenty of new technology, isn't there, Lonnie? Tell us about it.
Absolutely. We've got the brand new 5-liter Coyote tucked under the hood of this with a 6-speed Tremec transmission. It's vintage air on the car, so modern heat and AC. 4-wheel bare disc brakes all the way around the car, 13-inch rotors with 4-piston all the way around. We've got performance suspension steering products on it, so we've got a 3-link out back with a Watts, a strut system on the front, and power rack on the front as well. So it steers, stops, handles, drives like a dream, runs and drives like a new car, but it looks like an old car.
So effectively, you've got all of the luxuries of a new car, the handling, the performance, but you've got that old school muscle car look.
Exactly. It's the best of both worlds.
And tell us about the sensational little Coyote V8 under the hood. What have you done to it? What sort of power is it producing now?
From the factory, this is just a stock crate engine. We have done no internal modifications, but to fit in the vintage chassis, we do a header design that's ours. We do a cold air kit, and then we do a very safe, mild tune on it, but we're still cranking out about a little over 500 horse at the flywheel, 400 horse at the rear tires. Then the beautiful thing about 500 horse with a pushrod motor is completely different than 500 horse out of this Coyote. With a variable cam timing, this thing pulls from the moment you fire it to the moment you're on the rev limiter, and what a blast these things are to drive.
And we're talking about some serious RPM too, aren't we, out of a factory stock engine?
Yeah, we turn like 7,500 RPM out of this thing.
You've got to love that technology, don't you, Lonnie? And thanks for talking to us. Great car.
Thanks so much for being here and celebrating the 50th with us all the way from Australia.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
We're with Chris Griswold here. He's got a very interesting Mustang. Chris, tell us about this machine.
It's got a lot of power. It's got a Dart aluminum block, 351 base, board and stroke to 427. It was 856 at 7 pounds of boost.
That's certainly not hanging about. And that's quite a unique turbocharger system. Instead of running the traditional turbocharger up in the engine bay, it's right down the rear. Explain that.
Right. We kept it low and we put it in by the frame rail, so we intake the air so it's not coming from the front where all the heat of the motor is. We're intaking the air off the side. Goes directly down there through the intercooler in the back, and then it's charged up right through the firewall. So the advantage is weight and heat. All that heat is way in the back of the motor. We're not trying to suck air from the hot engine.
What sort of speeds are you seeing here at the track?
Just click it into turn 3. We were at like 173, and there's probably more, but...
Only 173.
Yeah,
that's flying.
Yeah, I started off, I thought 122 was fast in the banking. And then I'm like, 128, and I'm like 135 through the banking, and there's more there yet. So just kind of taking it easy and bringing it up to speed slowly.
Honey, what are you doing out there?
Waiting on the next Super Blowout 3-day only mega sale.
You don't need a sale, you need MPD.
NPD's everyday prices are competitive, and our huge in-stock inventory and dedicated export department allows orders to arrive fast to Australia. National Parts Depot has quality parts for Mustang, Camaro, Chevelle, GTO, Firebird, Ford, and Chevy truck. Go online or email export@npdlink.com.
Working beats waiting.
tough car needs a tough oil, and that's when you need Gulf Western Oil. It's Australian-owned, developed and manufactured in their state-of-the-art production facility. So no matter what you drive, you can be assured you're in the right hands for all your lubrication needs. Gulf Western Oil, the tough Australian. We're with Mark Mansell here, and we've found an interesting little Mustang convertible with a lot of history. Mark, tell us all about this car.
Sure. This Mustang here, this little black Mustang, is the fourth Mustang in the line. So the serial number is 00004. And it's one of the Mustangs that was involved with the World's Fair in 1964 in New York City. So Ford Motor Company sent 12 Mustangs to the World's Fair. This was number 4. They sent number 3 through 14 to the World's Fair. And so they had to fit everything underneath the car so that the conveyor belt could pull the cars around. So they say that about 40,000 people went into the car to go through the ride, the Disney ride that Ford and Disney had got together for this ride at the World's Fair. And so the car, once it was done, was sent back to Dearborn, Michigan, to Ford Motor Company. And my father had a friend in Dearborn and happened to take his lunch break and write serial numbers down for my dad, who was interested in it. And sure enough, he sent one down and thought this Mustang was the best one on the lot. There's others there, but this one was kind of the one he thought would be the one. And so my dad talked my grandfather, his father-in-law, into buying it. And so they bought it right off the Ford lot there in Dearborn, and it's been in our family ever since. So it's gone from New York City to Dearborn to a little town in western Pennsylvania.
That is absolutely amazing, and it looks almost factory stock. Would that be correct?
That's correct, except for the 2 front fenders. Everything in the car is as it was bought in 1965, including, which is kind of an odd thing, the top is still intact. And the interior, there might be some bruises and bumps, and there's a little bump that I did down here. But other than that, it's as it was in 1965. So yeah, it's original.
Spectacular. I notice you've got, with mirrors, you've got lights down there to show us the bracketry for where
Sure.
it was attached to that ride at the fair as
Right.
proof.
Yeah, there's one down here and we have one over here, and which proves that there's no doubt. You can't make that stuff up. That it was part of the World's Fair and just got pulled through. And it was one of 3 black Mustangs. And of the 12 that were sent to the World's Fair, this is the only one we know that's still running.
Absolutely spectacular story, some great history there, and thanks for talking to us.
Cheers, thank you.
We're with Fred Blum here from Saline, and what a magnificent vehicle this car is. It caught my eye. Tell us all about it, Fred.
Well, this is one of our heritage cars. We have started the Heritage, actually a series, with Parnelli Jones. This car is the George Fulmer Heritage car. George Fulmer being a very well-known legend in automotive racing. He has driven everything all the way to Formula One. This car has been reproduced in the vein of that 1969 Mustang he drove to the Trans Am Championship. Well, there has been no attention to detail that was overlooked. The car is normally aspirated, 500 horsepower, which is actually more horsepower than was in the Trans Am race car in 1969. And this car will go faster than that on the street. And we've had George Fulmer here for the weekend signing autographs for people. We're building 250 of these cars, and they are all equipped just as you see them here. The suspension has been redone. It's got bigger brakes on it. You'll notice that it's a smaller wheel than you might see in a lot of cars today, and the reason being there, again, is true to the Trans Am Heritage. It was a smaller wheel and tire package on that car. Even the Mustang Club of America, you'll notice that there's a decal that says the same thing from 1969, and down to the competition gas door. Another quick thing is the race car actually had the louvered back window cover on it, just like we see here. And you lift up the floor mats, are embossed with the outline of all of the tracks that the car ran on in 1969.
Well, I found an angry machine here, this Boss 429 with Greg Martin here. Greg, tell us about this car.
Well, I've owned the car for almost 36 years. I bought it when I was 21 years old, and if you knew the complete history, you'd enjoy a laugh. I drove it like most 21-year-olds will drive it, and my father took it away from me after being caught for drag racing. And it sat for 26 years when we finally decided to get it back out and put it back together like it should be.
That was a pretty serious car for a 21-year-old.
It was, and my father hated the car. When he carried me to buy it the night I actually picked it up, I think his exact words were, "It's your money wasted if you want to," and I, of course, being 21 years old, I did.
I'm glad you did.
I am too. After the fact, I actually gave $2,500 US for the car, and came with the engine in pieces. Like I said, it had been treated pretty rough when I bought it, but we over the years have put it back together hopefully like it's supposed to be. And we still have some of the old Go Fast parts that were left on it from the 1970s. It has a set of custom traction bars, and if you look at the rear quarters, they have been cut out for a set of drag slicks, and that's pretty much the condition it was in when I got it. But we've had a great time with the car.
So it's the real deal. It is a genuine 429 Boss Grabber Blue.
It is a genuine Boss 429. It's KK number 2256. It was built in October of 1969. It's one of the 62 that were the Grabber Blue color with the black interior. If you notice, most of the Grabber Blue Boss 429s, they have the white interior, and I always like the black interior better than the white, mainly because it stays cleaner. But we're very proud of the car.
I think you'd have to agree that it was probably the best investment you'd ever made. They're worth quite a lot of money these days.
After the fact, I wish I'd bought about a dozen of them at the time.
Probably 1,000% on your money.
Absolutely. I wish everything I had bought went up like that, but unfortunately it has not.
Well, what an iconic event it's been here at Charlotte Motorsport Speedway to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Ford Mustang. And what an iconic car the Mustang is too. It's deserving. I've never seen so many Mustangs in one place at one time. The cars running around the oval here. The cars that ran in the cruise. Over 1,000 cars at one time. It broke a world record. There would have been at least 6,000 to 9,000 cars here for this entire weekend. It's been an absolute buzz. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I'll see you next time on Man and Machine. Man and Machine is brought to you by Flex Mobile Hose Service, Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts, and the following sponsors.